Today we'll be working in my workbook called Jacob Returns to Canaan. This book covers Genesis chapters 32 through Genesis 36. And looking at the table of contents, we have already done the first three chapters. We've done where Jacob has traveled down and has now met Esau, and all the preparation he did to get on Esau's good side. Then he prepares to meet Esau. He hasn't met him yet. Then he wrestles with God. This is the time where he wrestles and God touches his hip. And also where his name changes to Israel. Then in chapter 3, we have where Jacob actually meets Esau, and they have a good meeting, which is really good. But despite telling Esau he's going to go down to the land of Seir, he doesn't do that. He travels through Canaan. He's heading towards where his father is. And so now we get to a chapter that is one of those situations why I say the Bible is not a G-rated book. This is definitely not a book for children. Dinah and the Shechemites. Dinah and the Shechemites, Genesis 34, 1 through 31. Genesis 34, 1. Now Dinah, the daughter Leah had borne to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and raped her. So you can see why I say this is not a G-rated book. This is a strange story just from all angles, and so we're going to try to explore all those different angles. It's definitely a PG-13 story, so children under the age of 15 should probably skip this chapter. This story takes place several years later. Based on Genesis 37:2, Joseph is 17, which makes that story 11 years after Jacob leaves Paddan-aram. Dinah and Joseph are about the same age, so that would mean that she is no older than 17 and probably about 15 at this time. If she is 15, then all the other family members are Jacob's 106, his first wife Leah is 42, her children Reuben 22, 21, Simeon, Levi 20, Judah 19, Issachar 16, and Zebulun 15. His second wife Rachel, who's 41, and her son is 15. His first concubine Bilhah and her sons, Daniel's 18 and Naphtali 17, and his second concubine Zilpah and her sons Gad 17 and Asher 16. So who's Dinah the daughter of? Leah and Jacob. What did Dinah do? She went out to visit the women of the land. Here we already have a problem. Is Dinah going out visiting the Canaanites in rebellion to her parents? Or are her parents just not caring what she does, not having an escort or supervision? We also do not know if this was several times or one time. Some commentators see her as going out making friends, while other commentators wonder how she was able to do this without the knowledge of her family. She didn't need friends, as her family group would have been huge. Unattached and unescorted young women would have been considered fair game at that time. Who's the ruler of the area? Hittite, and Hamor the Hivite. What's his son's name? Shechem. The area was also known as Shechem, so the son of the ruler would have been named after the famous ancestor who started it. What is the nationality of Hamor and Shechem? They're Hivites. What did Shechem do? He raped Dinah. The scriptures continue. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to her father, Hamor, get me this girl as my wife. We really have to read between the lines here, which is true. The scripture says, his heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. But what then does the scripture say? Get me this girl as my wife. The definition of lust is a very strong sexual desire versus love, which is defined as a strong affection for another arising out of a personal relationship. What is Shechem feeling for Dinah, lust or love? He's feeling lust. He hasn't had any time to feel love. Did Shechem ask Dinah if she was interested in marrying him? No, he doesn't. Did Shechem court Dinah with respect first, or did he abuse her and then want more from her? He abused her and then wanted more from her. Is rape in Dinah a kind and gentle act? No. Then what does Shechem see that he wants from Dinah as a wife? I don't know. Other than the fact that she was different, or she was not like the other women or anything like this. Um, the fact that he could just take her willy-nilly is probably an issue too. She probably not is very resistant to it. That's how she was raised. So, you begin to wonder really what he wants out of her as a wife. Genesis 34:5. When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he did nothing about it till they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Did Jacob react as soon as he heard that his daughter had been defiled, or did he wait for a time? He waited for a time. Here again, we see a lack of concern for his daughter Dinah. Now, he is old as he stays in camp while his sons work, but still there doesn't seem to be any anger or reaction. Since it isn't from Dinah, who tells him? So how? Uh, since it isn't Dinah who tells him, how does Jacob find out that Dinah has been defiled? This is an opinion question. Imagine one of her servants had come back home and told her, which meant that she had at least one servant. What did Jacob wait to happen before resolving this issue with Dinah? He waited until the sons had come back home. Who came to talk with Jacob? Hamor, Shechem's father. Actually, Shechem is with him. Arranged marriages were often done during this time, but usually not after you rape the woman you're asking to marry. Why did Hamor come to talk with Jacob? To get Dinah as a wife for Shechem. The question is, where is Dinah? We'll find this out shortly. The scriptures continue. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what had happened. They were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. The term in Israel really means to Israel, meaning that the rape of Dinah happened to the whole tribe of Israel or the whole family of Jacob. So as they come into from the fields as soon as they hear, whereas Jacob waits, but they come in as soon as they hear. And they say it should not have been done. Of course, it should not have been done that Shechem had slept with Dinah. Where were Jacob's sons when they heard that Dinah was defiled? Out in the fields. Since it wasn't from Dinah, how do you think they found out about the defilement? I think that servant or slave who told Jacob then runs and tells the brothers. Did they wait until the end of the day, or did they come in right away? They came in right away. What was their reaction to what happened to Dinah? They were shocked and furious. Understanding what the term in Israel means, how is this an action against the tribe of Israel and not just against Dinah? Basically, this is like an attack on the Israel nation, an attack against a neighboring nation. This son of the ruler of Shechem did. The scriptures continue. But Hamor said to them, my son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us, give us your daughters, and take her daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it. Does Hamor state what happened and apologize for Dinah's defilement? No, he doesn't. He doesn't apologize for it at all. Do you think Hamor realizes that the rape of Dinah is already known by Jacob and his sons? No, apparently he doesn't. Hamor doesn't just request that Shechem marry Dinah, but what other men and women marry. Um, he wants his tribe to marry their tribe, intermarry, intermix. By this we know either Jacob had other daughters or his sons already had daughters. Aside from the offering of intermarrying between the tribes, what does Hamor offer? Live in the land, trade in it, acquire property. Do you think Hamor knows his son raped Dinah? Why? I think he does. I think he's trying to make a deal with a neighboring nation, um, trying to make adjustments. In that time, a lot of nations intermarried to keep peace. And so he's trying to make it that way. Again, where is Dinah? We will find that out shortly. The scriptures continue. Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me. Only give me the young woman as my wife. Shechem is treating this like an arrangement for marriage, where a dowry is given in exchange for the woman in matrimony. What did he offer? I'll give you whatever you ask as a bride price. Does Shechem believe that he can pay whatever they set the price for Dinah? Yes, he does. Look again at your answer to 6 on page 41. Do you feel the same way? Let's see what 6 is, page 41. I don't know what 6 is. I don't know where 6 is. Oh, 6. So talking about a kind and gentle act, and then what does Jacob see that he wants for Dinah as his wife? I still feel the same way. Yes. Basically, he figures he can take her for whatever. He can pay whatever price that they ask. Does Shechem apologize for treating Dinah badly? Nope, he doesn't. Shechem started his negotiation with, let me find favor in your eyes. If Dinah were your daughter or sister, is there any way that Shechem could now buy favor in your eyes? Would this conceit make you angrier? Yes, I don't see how he could find favor in my eyes, and the sense that he could buy me off would make me even more angry. Has anyone asked Dinah or even seen Dinah since they learned this happened to her? No. I know I may be biased because both I'm a woman, I've been around sexual abuse, but his belief that he could literally buy the right to abuse her again and again is very upsetting to me. We still don't know where Dinah is. The scriptures continue. Because their sister Dinah has been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully as they spoke to Shechem and his father Hamor. They said to them, we can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who's not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us. We will enter into an agreement with you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we'll give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you and become one people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we'll take our sister and go. Did we already know that Jacob's sons have a plan when they speak with Shechem and Hamor? Yes, we already know that they have a plan. What did they demand from Shechem as a dowry to marry Dinah? That all the men in your town has to be circumcised. In order that Shechem men can marry the Israelite women, what did the Shechemite men have to do? They all have to be circumcised. Although it is true that men have to be circumcised in order to be part of the Israelite clan, they also have to believe in the God of the Hebrews to make this particular covenant with God. The sons of Jacob cheapen this covenant act by including it in their scheme and not have it mean anything. If Shechem and Hamor do not agree, what happens? We take our sister and go. The scriptures continue. Genesis 34:18. Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man, who was the most honored of all his family, lost no time in doing what they said because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Did Hamor and his son Shechem agree to this condition? Yes, they did. The act of circumcision was not just confined to the Israelites. Other ancient people did it as well. Remember, Abraham circumcised both Ishmael and Isaac. How is Hamor's son Shechem looked upon by the Shechemites? He was most honored of all his father's family. If Shechem is the most honored and he raped Dinah, what does that say about the Shechemites? Did Shechem, the son, follow through with the act of circumcision? Yes, indeed he did. Circumcision for adult males is very painful. Perhaps we might understand Shechem's willingness, but why would Hamor agree for his tribe? Which reasons are possible to you? One, there'll be more women to choose from as wives. That's true. Intermarrying with Israel tribe will mean more possessions. That's possibly true. Intermarrying will tend to prevent war between the two tribes. That's possibly true. The Israelite women are much prettier than Shechemite women. We have no idea about that. Inflicting pain on oneself is always a pleasurable thing, and I definitely don't think that. Again, my question is, where is Dinah? Genesis 34:20. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city to speak to the men of their city. These men are friendly toward us, they said. Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours. But the men will agree to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised, as they themselves are. Wouldn't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? Let's agree to their terms and they will settle among us. Where did Hamor and Shechem go to talk with the men of their city? At the gate of their city to speak. In most of the cities of this time, the gate of the city is usually where the marketplace is, and also where many of the elders sit to judge transactions, like shown in the book of Ruth. Number two, Hamor lays out three items to the men of the city that he has discovered about the Israelite tribe. They are, these men are friendly toward us. The land has plenty of room for them. Let's let them live in our land and trade in it. And we can marry their daughters and they can marry ours. To convince the men of his city to get circumcised, what is Hamor's argument in verse 23? Wouldn't all their possessions, they'd be our possessions if we marry them? The scriptures continue. Genesis 34:24. All the men went out of the city gate, who went out of the city gate, agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, two of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. Did the men of the city of Shechem agree to get circumcised? Yes, they did. Just to be clear, how many men of Shechem got circumcised? All the men of Shechem got circumcised. In 3 days, are all the men still in pain from the circumcision? Yes, they are. Today, the length of time for total healing from a circumcision to an adult male is 10 days to 2 weeks. Which two sons of Jacob went into the town of Shechem? Simeon and Levi. Looking back at the bottom of page 3, are Simeon and Levi full brothers or half brothers of Dinah? We go back to page 3, which is this one. At the bottom of page 3, Dinah is full sister to Simeon and Levi. Did the city of Shechem expect to be attacked? No, they don't. How many males were Simeon and Levi able to kill in this city? All the males. Do you think this was justifiable revenge or excessive, and why? I do think it was excessive. Was it justifiable to enact some punishment because of the attack on Israel? Yes, but I do think it is a little bit over the top. Again, my question continues, where is Dinah? Also, where is Reuben, the firstborn? But we have no answer to that question. We do have an answer where Dinah is eventually. So scriptures continue. Genesis 34:26. They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. They seized their flocks and herds and donkeys and everything else of theirs in the city and out in the fields. They carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the houses. Now we finally find Dinah. Where did they find Dinah? In Shechem's house. Personally, this is what makes me the angriest of all. Shechem was so sure that he could pay whatever dowry the family of Jacob would offer that he doesn't even bring Dinah with him when he negotiates. I know women did not get much of a say in those days, but all I see is raping Dinah and then holding her captive until he married her. What did Simeon and Levi do to Hamor and Shechem, his son? They killed them both. In verse 27, does it say Simeon and Levi or the sons of Jacob? The sons of Jacob. Do you think the rest of the sons of Jacob were part of this plunder of the city? Well, it's a whole lot to do for just two men, but the women are all, so possibly. What all was taken from the city? Flocks and herds and donkeys and everything else that they owned, and the women and children. The scriptures continue. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me obnoxious to the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the people living in this land. We are few in number, and if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" Was Jacob pleased with what Simeon and Levi did? No, he wasn't pleased. Does it seem that Jacob is more concerned with his reputation than the defilement of his daughter? Yes. Um, Maybe because his daughter wasn't worth much to him. I don't know. What is Jacob afraid of based on their actions? The Canaanites in the land could attack them. Actually, all the neighboring nations now fear them, as we will soon find out. Did Simeon and Levi regret their actions? Absolutely not. Everyone agrees that Simeon and Levi went overboard on their revenge for their sister's defilement. But what, in your opinion, would have been the correct response? They don't know. Um, I think Shechem was a little bit arrogant in his thought that he could just keep Dinah after he raped her. But they didn't need to kill the rest of the town. I don't know what they needed to do to Shechem, but they needed to. The rest of the town wasn't at fault. So something against Shechem, but maybe not against the rest of the town. So we come to the end of this chapter, and make sure that I have the answers in front of me. So what tribe was Hamor and Shechem from? The Hivites. Hivites. Okay. And number 5. Let's see if I can figure this out here. This is. Yep, that's not the one. Number 5. In order for the men of Shechem to marry the daughters of Jacob, they had to be circumcised. They had to be circumcised. And okay. How many days after the mass circumcision did the Simon and Levi attack? 3 days. Let's see here. Maybe it's this one. The 2 brothers that killed every Shechem male were Simeon and Levi. Who is Shechem's father? Hamor. There we go. And who is Dinah's mother? Leah. Shechem wanted Dinah to become his wife. Number 2, who raped Dinah? Shechem. Number 4, when Dinah's brothers learned about Dinah, they were out in the field with the flocks, I think. With the livestock. Number 7, they found Dinah's and Shechem's house. And who is the father to Dinah, Simon, and Levi? Jacob. So that's the end of this chapter. It was one of those definitely PG-13 chapters. So I hope you enjoyed it, sort of.